Shabbat Shalawam, Yasharahla, Shabbat Shalawam. All praises be unto the Most High, Yahweh Hashem HaMashiach, Kwam Yalak Yahweh Shai. Right, this class I want to run through a few scriptures in regards to the kingdom, this kingdom that we are living in, and what it means when we say separate from the kingdom. Because you see, the Most High tells us to separate ourselves from this wicked kingdom which we are dwelling in. However, what does it truly mean to separate yourself? How can you separate yourself from the kingdom that you yourself currently reside in? You may think it's an impossibility, but it's just to understand what it actually means when the Most High says to separate thyself from this wicked kingdom. Otherwise, it shall destroy you with a sore destruction. Much like the scriptures we went over in the previous video. This is not our rest. You can check that out in the library. So we're going to go a step further. But today, this, I'll call it separate from the kingdom. So let's go back to Micah, because I think we went through Micah in last lesson also. So let's go back to Micah and start it there. And that'll be Micah chapter 2 and 10. So let's go find that. And I do hope you're enjoying the Shabbat, especially, you know, later on. We're having some fun later on tonight because, you know, it's Chanukah. It's our feast of dedication. It's our time, you know, to reflect on our brothers standing up as a unit to defend us, you know. But that's for a total different lesson. That's for a total different lesson. So let's not get off topic too much. By the time this video comes out, we will have already been and gone through the Feast of Dedications, you know. But let's stay on point for now. The feast day is a beautiful thing. All right, so we want Micah chapter 2 and 10. And it reads, Arise ye, and depart from this is not, for this is not your rest. Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. So this is the society that we live in, it's polluted. We cannot be a part of it. Okay, we cannot take part in it. All right, let's move on. So we're gonna go over now into the Apocrypha, and we want Baruch. We want Baruch chapter 4 and 6, and we read through to verse 7. Baruch chapter 4 and 6. Ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because ye moved God to wrath, ye were delivered unto the enemies. So again, this is a scripture that I really do like, because it clears up things. It makes things clearer as we read from the Old Testament. Ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because ye moved God to wrath. Yeah, we violated our law, and according to the law, a consequence of not keeping the law is going into captivity. That's all over the Old Testament. It's all over Deuteronomy. Verse 7. For ye provoke him that made you by sacrificing unto devils and not to God. Just verifying what I just said. We violated our law. We violated our God. So the consequence of this is to go into captivity under them that are actually below you. Roughly paraphrasing scripture. Right. So let's go to that Old Testament in Deuteronomy to confirm what we just read there in Baruch. And what we need is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 64. Because you see, precepts must be upon precept. Deuteronomy Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, Ye were sold into slavery. Salakia. I'll go from the top. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And whenever I read that bit, I have to make it clear. Wood, Christianity; stone, Islam. That's what it's in reference to right there. Our people are all up in those sort of things, you know. But this is a part of the curses. This is what would happen to you. You will go into captivity. You will now then serve the gods of the nations that you go into captivity with. So Baruch and Deuteronomy here are saying the same thing. Or should I say, Baruch is really making reference to what was said here by Moses. Right, so we go on now and we go to Hebrews. Let's go into the New Testament, because we go everywhere to corroborate what we are saying here, because we're not leaning on to our own understanding. It is the scriptures that are telling us what is. So we want Hebrews chapter 4 and 8. Hebrews 4 and 8. Verse 8. For if Yahushua had given them rest, then would he not afterward have spoken of another day? So we are not currently in our rest, as there are scriptures that are yet to be fulfilled which prophesy many things to come. Until we get that rest, we are not there yet. So if we had arrived at our rest, there would be no need for the Most High and His Son, Mashiach Yahushua, to speak of another day of rest. I will read that again, make it clear, just for clarification. For if Yahushua had given them rest, then would he not afterward have spoken of another day? It would be pointless to speak of another day of rest if you have rest already. So my people, we are not at rest. We are not. So God forbid a brother or sister walks around here thinking that they make captivity look good. They somehow pull off making captivity, being in captivity, look good. Then pull it off with style. You cannot be comfortable in the land of your captor, because if you are in captive, then you are under somebody's boot. How can you then be at rest in such a situation? You would surely have to be insane to be happy and yet be in that situation. So let's go further. We go to verse 9. There remaineth therefore a rest to the people of God. We have not got there yet. So I'll read that again from verse 8 to verse 9. For if Yahushua had given them rest, then would he not afterwards have spoken of another day? There remaineth therefore a rest to the people of Yahweh. That is the rest that we are after. That is the rest that is at the end. We are not there yet. So do not confuse yourself and be comfortable in captivity. So Jeremiah chapter 6 and 16. So Jeremiah chapter 6 and 16 says, Thus saith Yahweh, stand ye in the way, stand ye in the ways, and see, and ask for the old path, where is the good way, and walk therein. And ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. That's Jake. Slacky, I know folly, but that's Jake, man. That tough-headed, you know? Real tough-headed. You can't... I read that again. Jeremiah chapter 6 and 16. Thus saith Yahweh, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths. Where is the good way? And walk therein. And ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. You see, it's like you bring the medicine. You bring the medicine. Yeah, you bring them commandments. You bring them law statutes to them. You bring the way of life to live to them. They will not walk in it. They will not walk in it because them love captivity. Them love captivity. And that's not to try and disrespect anyone who don't seem to be walking this path. That's not what that is. It's just making known something. So we stay in Jeremiah and we just go up to quite up a bit. Jeremiah chapter 51 verse 4. Jeremiah 51 and 4. Actually, let's go all the way down to 45. Get straight to the point. My people, go ye out of the midst of her, and deliver ye every man his soul from the fierce anger of Yahweh. My people, go ye out of the midst of her, and deliver ye every man his soul from the fierce anger of Yahweh. We have to separate from this people. We have to separate from this nation, the kingdom, the way of life. You cannot be doing it. The Most High here is actually telling you to get away from her. The her is Mystery Babylon. The whore is that wretch that ride upon the dragon. Call it United States if you will. But in general, the mumma of the whore are the same thing. Different sides of the same kind. So separate thyself, my people, out of their way, out of the heathenic way, because it is not of us. Their ways are vain. Let's see. We could now have a look at 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and start from 17. 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and 17. Wherefore come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith Yahweh, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. So again, it says in the very same thing that we've been establishing from the beginning of the reading. Wherefore, come out from among them. Who's the them? These heathens. Come out from among them, and be ye separate, much like we were separated, severed from the rest of the nations unto the Most High God. Separate people, holy people. Verse 17, wherefore come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. All praises to the Most High Yahweh B'Hashem HaMashiach Yahweh Shai. So let's go back to Jeremiah. Because Jeremiah told us all this a very long time ago. So let's start off at verse 1 and we'll just go down to verse 4. Hear ye the words which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Not universal, Israel. So what is being said here is specifically and only pertaineth unto the Israel. They're getting something that pertaineth unto themselves just now. Hear ye the word which the Yahweh speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith Yahweh, learn not the ways of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathens are dismayed at them. Verse 2 again, let me go through that a little bit. Thus saith Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen. What are the ways of the heathen? Their customs, the things they do, the way they live. These are their ways. You, Israel, copy it not. Do not learn their customs, their ways. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathens are dismayed at them. Verse 3, for the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. That is a clear description of what is today referred to as a Christmas tree. I will go over it one more time from verse 3. For the customs, their traditions, their holidays, their holidays, we should not be acknowledging any of these things. For the Most High just told you that their customs, their ways are vain. They are based in lies. It's all lies. Verse 3, from the custom of the people, for the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with an axe. So you deliberately get up, take your axe up, go into the forest, and you chop a tree down. Then deck it with silver and gold, tinsel. Christmas tree we talking about, tinsel. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not, because them make sure it stood up in their house so it don't fall over. Back then, yeah, fair dues, they may have used hammers and nails. Today, they're technologically advanced. They just make a mold stand for that out of plastic. Is there really much a difference? It's the same old pagan tradition. And then they turn around now and we all adopt it. And we all celebrate it religiously. Every year, talking about this somehow has something to do with the Christ, somehow has to do with the birth of a Mashiach. This is Jeremiah. Christ ain't even nearly on the scene yet. But here they are, practicing a tradition that today, most of our people and the world seems to attach to the birth of Christ. Something that is clearly pagan. Something that the Most High has passed down through Jeremiah to say unto Israel, do not learn the ways of these people, for they are vain. And when the first verse we started this class on, told you that their ways, you have to separate out of this thing because their ways will destroy you with a sword destruction. It is going to destroy you, Israel. We cannot take part in their kingdom. Because it's based in lies. It's based in sin. But we move on. Actually, I'll give one more. Let's do Proverbs 3 and 31. Just to close out. Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 31. Proverbs 3 and 31. Envy thou not the oppressor. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. What's his ways? What's the ways of the heathen? Their customs, their traditions. addressed to the Israelites, envy thou not the oppressor and choose none of his ways. Why you want to be like your oppressor? You know who your oppressor are. You know who your oppressor are. So why would you want to be like them? So I'll close it out where I started. Micah 2:10. Micah 2:10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted, with lies. It shall destroy you even with a sore destruction. Yasharahla, we need to separate out of this kingdom. We don't have nothing to do with them things. Let them celebrate all that the heathenic things they want to celebrate. That is not of us. That is not our traditions. And again, you being the Israelite, do what is of the Israelite. Follow the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. Take the advice given from the Most High and the prophets. To envy now not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. So Shalawam, Yasharahla, Shabbat Shalawam. Beautiful chatting again. And see you next time. Shalom.